Good evening, everyone. The Housing Appeals Board meeting will be starting in about 4 minutes. Is Lanita not joining us tonight, or Carol? Carol will not be. Lanita, as far as I know, will be, but she may be
Late.
not quite with us yet. Okay, just running a little late. Okay, just want to double check. Thank you. Yeah. Good evening. The Housing Appeals Board meeting will begin in about 2 minutes.
Sorry, Pam, it's gonna be a little more than that.
Okay, whenever you're ready. I don't think Mr. York has joined us yet either.
Yeah, there's people waiting that I have to let in, so.
Okay. Kathy, you have happy balloons behind you.
I do. Did you do that? Oh, no, those are all the ones that came from the hospital.
Oh, nice.
So they're sitting there. So it's kind of like I don't know how to act because being home this long. Because
Well, we're
normally,
glad you're home.
oh, me too. Me too. So
Okay, I think we're okay.
Ready to go?
I think we're ready.
Do we have everybody? Is John with us and Lanita?
I'm here.
Okay.
Nita.
I'm bringing John York in now.
Yoke. Hey, I'd like to call the June meeting of the City of Akron Housing Appeals Board to order. Board members, you received the minutes of last month's meeting in the mail. Are there any additions, corrections, comments? Hearing none, the minutes stand approved as mailed. Mr. York, would you like to do the swearing in of folks who will be testifying prior to our doing the individual cases?
Sure, we could do it that way. We should probably, gonna get them in the room, Dwayne?
I think this is what we did last month. Is that correct? You brought everybody in initially, we swore everybody in and then put them back in the waiting room until their case was being heard.
Yes, we have 3 that I'm bringing in.
Okie dokie.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Do we have everybody, Dwayne?
I believe we have David Nichol and Carrie Sutton and Jason Larch. And that's
Okay.
everyone that has arrived so far.
Okay. If you just came into the meeting and you'll be testifying tonight, I'm gonna ask you to unmute your microphone and raise your right hand. And then if we have any city employees, any inspectors who will be testifying this evening, if you could also raise your right hand and unmute your microphones. Mr. Gould, if you could unmute your microphone.
Oh my God. That's nasty.
I see you, Mr. Gould. Okay, so you're on there with Ms. Forrester. So we have everybody ready. Mr. Nichol, I think you need to unmute your microphone.
Mr. York,
Yes,
I have another person in the waiting room I'd like to bring in to identify
Okay.
them.
it's probably more efficient to do everybody at once, so we could do that.
I do need to identify this person.
Folks, it's gonna be a second. You could probably put your hands down. We'll try again.
I have no idea who that is.
Hey, would the person named Devon who just entered the room please identify yourself?
Yes, I'm here.
Your name, please?
Devon Jones,
Which case are you here for?
630 La Follette, Akron, Ohio. Representing Ella Thornton.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
So we have
Mr. York, I
everybody,
think we're set.
okay. Devon, and the rest of you that we've already discussed, if you could all please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
I do.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank
Mr.
you,
Larch
Mr. York.
Mr. Larch wasn't connected to audio when we did that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Larch, do you swear that he's still connecting?
I guess I can state at this point for Jody's benefit, the order of cases will be at this point, 1045 Stroman, then 1841 Kramer, then 697 Allen, and then 630 La Follette.
Thank you. Mr. York, have you got everybody you need? Or are we still missing someone?
Mr. Larch, are you able to hear me? Mr. Larch? No, Mr. Larch still doesn't have audio. If he could take the case,
I'm going to put him in the waiting room, have him come back in, see if he can connect.
okay, yeah, I can swear him in when he needs to be heard.
Okay, thank you. So Mr. Gregor, are you putting everyone back in the waiting room and then just bringing us the person for Stroman?
Yes, one moment, please. Okay, you should be set.
Okay, Jody, do you want to present the first case for us, please?
Yes, I just need to pull up photos real quick.
Sure.
There we go.
Bramer.
Okay, review case 5879, 1045 Stroman Avenue. At the Housing Appeals Board meeting of May 18th, 2021, the board granted an extension until the June 15th, 2021 meeting to install windows, install gutters and downspouts, repair the garage, install doors, cut grass, obtain permits, add gravel to the driveway, tuck point the chimney, keep the property secure, keep free of debris, and schedule an inspection. The exterior only of the property was inspected on June 11th, 2021. I was not contacted to schedule an interior inspection. There were workers on site cutting the grass. Some of the trees had been removed, and there was a company on site getting ready to install gutters. The doors had already been installed prior to our last meeting. I can't say the dumpster was removed, so that did help matters. But there was still some trash and rubbish back by the garage. I did verify that no permits had been obtained for the property.
Thank you. Okay, who's here to talk to us about the property at 1045 Stroman? Would you give us your name and address, please?
Harry Sutton, 1045 Stroman Avenue.
And Ms. Sutton, you are the owner, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so what's up? First, I guess the question would be, why did we not get an interior inspection scheduled?
What? Okay, so that was my fault. I neglected to call to schedule the inspection. So that was my fault.
Any particular reason?
I forgot, I'll be honest.
Okay, it appears that several of the things that should have been done by this meeting have not been done yet.
Okay,
What's the scoop there?
so the gutters and the downspouts have been done. The garage has been painted white. The doors, of course, have been replaced. The permits, the person that I'm working with applied for his license and to get his insurance, and he did apply for the permits. And he's saying that the permit should be available in 3 days to him.
Okay, and I think Ms. Forrester said the grass had been cut.
Yes, the landscaping had been done or has been done.
How about the gravel in the driveway?
Okay, that was not done. I was gonna see about getting it resealed or resurfaced.
Okay, chimney tuck pointed,
Yes, the chimney has been tucked.
windows.
Okay, so the contractor I'm working with, he said he called the city and the city said that the windows had to be reframed, new framing, and that somebody needs to come out and inspect the framing before the windows go in.
That's permit work, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, I guess, there have been orders on this property for over 3 years. It's finally come before the board, and a major concern in my mind, and I'll let the other board members express their thoughts because it may not be a major concern for them, is the fact that we didn't get the interior inspection that we needed. That's rather important to us, and apparently is not that important to you, which raises red flags for me. Board members, any thoughts on the work that has been done or not done?
Jody, is the work that you saw on the outside up to par? Is it good work?
When I did my inspection on Friday, that work had not been done, as you can see by the photos.
Okay.
Jody, remind me, we have repair garage. Ms. Sutton indicated that it's been painted and the door was replaced. Now, when you were there Friday, it was not, so our pictures don't show that it has been. Is that the only repair that needed done to the garage?
I would have to look back through my notes. Let's see. No, I have on my notes from May 14th that repairs to the garage include the roof, repairing the siding, repairing the doors, and painting it.
Thank you. So the garage is, we can't check that one off as being done. According to Ms. Sutton, there is a door, but that evidently was done since Friday.
Okay, so I thought at the last meeting, it was indicated that the shingles did not need to be replaced on the roof of the garage.
Jody, can you address that?
Yeah, sorry, I got people emailing me that got booted out of the meeting and I'm trying to forward that to Dwayne. The roof was in poor condition. It was on the original orders that the roof needed to be repaired. It may not need to be completely re-shingled, but there are some repairs that need to be made to it.
Thank you.
All right.
Any other thoughts from the board?
What do you plan on doing with this house once you get it up to code?
It's going to become a rental.
Okay. And are you aware of the delinquent taxes on the house?
Yeah, I made a payment last week.
Great. So you've talked to the county and set up a payment plan?
Yes. Yes.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
If the board grants another extension, what do you plan on getting done in, say, the next 30 days?
The windows, but now Jody, you indicated that no more framing could be done on the inside until the person has their license or their permit. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So then the inside. And then every time something's done on, as far as woodwork or framing, an inspector would need to come out and evaluate that before proceeding, like with the drywall.
Before the drywall goes up, the electric has to be inspected, the
Okay.
hot water tank has to be inspected, the plumbing has to be inspected before the drywall goes up.
Okay. And is that inspected by a city person?
Inspected through the permits. You have to have
the
a
permit.
building permit, a
Right.
plumbing permit, and an electrical permit.
Okay.
However, there may be a significant number of things that need to be done to bring it up to code on the inside that we don't know about because we've not been able to get inside to do an interior inspection.
Well, I did do an interior
yes.
inspection prior to the last meeting.
Yes.
Okay, it may just be, let me check before I say something silly here, which would not be the first time. The only orders that I have are exterior.
That is correct, but prior to the last meeting, they did follow instructions and scheduled an interior inspection.
Okay, did we issue any interior orders?
No, it is not our
Okay.
policy and has never been to issue additional orders when a property is before the board.
Okay, thank you. So, and I'm sorry, Ms. Sutton, I interrupted you if you're granted an extension within the next 30 days, you plan to, first of all, get those permits, which you say are in the
Yes.
works.
Yes, correct.
At least frame for the windows.
Yes.
You said the gutters and downspouts are done.
Yes.
The garage still needs some work.
Yes.
You're reconsidering what you want to do to the driveway.
Yes.
Anything else that would happen in the next 30 days?
I mean, once we get the permits, And you're just talking about the outside, correct? Not the inside.
Correct.
Okay, so those would be the top three or four items, the garage, to be completed in the next 30 days. The windows, the windows, the garage, the shingles, because it has been painted, and the driveway.
Okay. Anything, since those are still holdovers, anything new that you would add? Or
To the outside?
that would finish the outside, Jody?
I'm gonna need her to repeat. I'm still receiving emails from.
Okay, I'm
individuals that
sorry.
got booted out.
I'm sorry, the garage, the roofing repairs on the garage, the windows, and the driveway.
Yes, as always, one of the things that we ask is that that properties need to be properly registered. Did you take care of the registration since the last meeting
Which registration? I'm sorry.
with our office? The rental registration.
Okay, I thought I did that for that $150 was not the same. Or I sent in my documentation and the $150 charge. Is there something else I need to do?
Could be. Let me check to verify that that was done.
Unless there was a step I missed.
While Jody's checking that, board members, any other thoughts or questions or concerns?
I have a question. Well, not question, but kind of statement. Also, we missed out on saying, Ms. Sutton, would you schedule the interior inspection?
Yes, I
Which is
now know I need to do
crucial.
that the Wednesday before every meeting. The
Well-
inspection, correct?
Sometime before the next meeting.
Before the
Right, I
next
mean,
meeting.
but
Yeah,
by,
you need to contact me by
Yes.
the Wednesday to get it scheduled.
yes.
And
okay.
yes, the property is correctly registered.
Okay,
Great. Thanks for checking that, Jody.
All right, good.
Mr. Dobberton, was that a comment from you? I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, good. We can cross registration off.
Any other thoughts from you? Michael?
No, well, question. I heard Ms. Sutton mention 4 items, and I've got frame windows, garage roof, driveway. What did I miss?
I think I added another one in there, thinking that there was a fourth one, but I can't think of what the fourth one should have been.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
the fourth one would be to make sure that you get the permits and then
Right.
any inspections
I got it.
that need to follow up from them.
Yes,
So are the windows just being framed or are the windows being framed and installed?
framed, and then, like I said, he said he had to be inspected and then installed after the inspection of the reframing of the windows.
So if all goes well, by our next meeting, if the extension is granted, there should be new windows in the house.
Correct. He's supposed to start the framing on Wednesday.
Word of caution.
Wednesday being tomorrow,
Yes.
but he doesn't have the permits yet.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. After he gets the permits, he said he should have the permits in 3 days.
Okay,
As soon as work is done, you want to call for an inspection because they are not always prompt.
Okay, so
Talking
Am
about
I-
the building department.
the building department, okay.
and just for ease of this wonderful technology, if you are not speaking, would you please mute your microphones, folks? I think most of us have done that. Then the tricky part is remembering to unmute when you want to say something. Any other thoughts from board members before we consider a motion? Ms. Sutton, we probably asked you this last month and it's not in my notes, so I just probably forgot to write it down. and then again, maybe we didn't because I'm not sure what all needs to be done on the interior. But
Mm,
how long do you think total to bring this house back into the point where you could rent it?
Um, 30 days to 45 days.
Oh, okay. That's hopeful.
Could I ask a question?
Yes.
Ms. Sutton, could you submit to Ms. Forrester a work plan for that 30 to 45 days or?
Yes.
Well, she's just given us her 30-day plan.
I mean,
I
along
can
the
put it
way.
in writing. Yes, I can put it in writing.
Along the way, so that we have a punch list to check off and hold you to the fire.
Yes.
Jody, I know that once a property comes before the board, even things that might not have been on the initial orders, if they are out of compliance, need to be complied before we can remove the property from our agenda. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So might there be additional things that need to be done that were not on those initial orders?
There are. Would you like me to read into the record what I read at last month's meeting?
I would actually. Thank you very much.
Provide a permit for the roof, siding, electric, plumbing, fire restoration, hot water tank, and furnace. To do repair right front fascia soffit, remove the dumpster was removed, the grass was cut, repair broken missing window storms and screens, missing storm doors front and rear. Secure the entrance cable, paint the trim, add gravel to the driveway, repair the garage roof, siding, doors, finish the electric, plumbing, install drywall, flooring, kitchen and bathroom fixtures, clean and seal the basement walls, install light fixtures, outlets, switches, smoke detectors, and have the utilities turned back on.
Thank you. So with that in mind, Ms. Sutton, are you still thinking this can be complete in 30 to 45 days?
I'm sorry, probably not.
Okay. I just don't want you to commit to something
No,
that
no, I
that's not going to be
understand.
possible,
No.
and then we're going to grumble.
Right. Well, then hearing that host a list. Now, what is the fire rester part of your list? What
That's
does
part
that-
of the building permit because there was a fire at the property. So anytime there's a fire, they need to inspect the structure. But since you're having them come in to inspect the framing,
Okay,
that'll cover that.
okay.
So with that in mind, might any of that begin in the next 30 days in addition to the things you already told us? And don't commit. If the answer is no, then that's the answer, but I'm
Right.
just asking.
Well, I think that, well, the plumbing, I know he's done some of the plumbing already. So I just need to get with my contractor and see what's realistic for him
Okay.
after he gets his permits.
Okay. And do you have the finances to be able to see this work through?
Yes, yes.
Any other thoughts from the board?
Yes, Ms. Sutton, please make sure that you speak with Ms. Forrester so that
Yeah.
you can be up on the things that are crucial that we're looking for because there's a lot that you have to do and it could be overwhelming and it could stretch it out farther than what it needs to be, but you need to be in communication with Ms. Forrester to know, to update your punch list. So when you create your punch list, she's got it and we know what's going on and the progress so we can see the progress.
Okay, yes.
So I guess with that in mind and going back to the request that you submit kind of a plan for repairs to Jody,
Yes.
you might then factor in some of these things that are going to need to be done and see how far down the line where they would fit in your 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, whatever plan.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Any other questions from the board, or is there a motion? Okie dokie, I think there's got to be one or the other. We have some questions or some comments. If you still need more information, or a motion if you think you know.
I can
what
get
we
to
want.
my unmute button.
That's the tricky part.
I'll try to help. All right, let's try this. Review case 5879, the property at 1045 Stroman Avenue. I move we grant an extension until our July meeting to allow the owner to obtain all necessary permits to frame and install the windows, to repair the garage roof, to resurface the driveway, to submit a plan for repairs in the future, and keep the property secure, free of debris, and call for a interior inspection.
Second. I second that.
Thank you. Ms. Sutton, before we vote, did you get that?
Yes, I did.
And does that seem doable?
Yes.
Hey, any other discussion from the board? All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. You're going to have to take yourselves off of mute.
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Good luck, Ms. Sutton.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, I didn't catch the time frame on that motion. Was that a 30-day extension or?
Yes.
Okay. And just for clarification, because of the way the calendar aligns for the third Tuesday, an extension to our next meeting is actually a 36-day extension. So
Until our meeting on July 20th, I think.
Motion was till our July meeting, so.
right. Oh yeah, that's 35 days. Excuse me. I'm going to bring in Mr. Larch now for the Kramer Avenue property.
He was not sworn, correct, Dwayne?
It's questionable as to whether he was actually sworn or not. So we might want to try him.
Would you like me to swear in Mr. Larch, Madam Chair?
I was going to have Jody present the case, but we can swear him first if you would prefer.
Whatever your preference is.
Let's have Jody present the case, and then when we ask him who he is, you can swear him in. Is that all right?
Perfect.
Jody? Do we have Mr. Larch with us? Dwayne, is Mr. Larch with us?
Yes, he is.
And can he hear us? Mr. Larch, can you hear us?
Mr. Larch does not have a microphone connected. Jody, if you could unshare your screen. Mr. Larch, I'm going to have to put you back in the waiting room and bring you back in. And as you're arriving, you need to enable a microphone, please, so they can hear you. Can you hear what I'm saying? I need to put you back in the waiting room and bring you back in to enable your microphone. Can you hear me saying that?
I don't think he can hear you either, Dwayne.
We'll give it one try. He's showing a microphone now at least, so can you hear us, Mr. Larch? I believe he might be trying to call in, so.
Oh, okay.
No, that's not Mr. Larch. Can you hear us, Mr. Larch?
Technology, isn't it wonderful?
Occasionally.
That's what I was gonna say, sometimes.
Yes. Yeah.
Mr. Larch, if you could unmute and please say something so we can see if we have audio of you. If you can hear us, could you start your video, please? I tell you what, we can move to the next case. I do have a phone number for Mr. Larch. I could try it. He's raising his hand. Okay, we've got that, Mr. Larch. Can you hear us? He doesn't have a mic. He doesn't have a microphone. He's now trying to connect to audio. So let's see if this works.
Okay, let me ask this question while he's trying to connect. If indeed he can't connect, okay, we've got video again. If we can't connect with audio, because he did try to attend tonight's meeting, can we continue this until our next meeting so that we are able to have this conversation? He's waving.
Can you hear us, Mr. Larch? You're not connected to audio. Can you hear us? Yeah, why don't we go ahead and I'll bring in Mr. Nickel for the next case, and I'll try to give Mr. Larch a call and try to talk him through this.
Okie dokie. And again, my question, I guess, still stands. If we can't make this work because of technology, not because Mr. Larch did not attempt to appear, can we continue it until next month?
Well, it's possible, but I think we should see what happens before the end of this meeting first.
Oh, I agree.
Confident
I
that
agree.
Mr. Greger will be able to at least get him connected by phone.
Okay. Yeah, yes, I definitely agree.
Is
So
it
we're gonna
not
be-
possible to have an audio only connection through a telephone line?
That's what Dwayne's going to talk to him about. Dwayne's going to
But I
call him.
mean, for his participation in the meeting.
Yeah, it should be able, he should be able to, I think, well, he should be able to call in, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so are we gonna hear 697 Allen Street then while we're waiting?
That was my understanding.
Okay, Mr. Nickel, can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Review case 5865, 697 Allen Street. At the Housing Appeals Board meeting of April 20th, 2021, the board granted an extension until June 15th, 2021 to complete all exterior repairs, schedule an immediate interior inspection, obtain permits, keep the property secure, free of debris, and schedule an inspection before the next meeting. The exterior only of the property was inspected on June 11th, 2021. That was the only inspection of the property. Mr. Nickel did not contact me to schedule either inspection. No permits have been obtained for the property. There was progress to the vinyl siding installation and the wrapping of the windows. I'll pull those pictures up for you.
Hey, while Jody's doing that, Mr. Nickel, could you please give us your name and address for the record?
David Nickel, 3002 Riverview Court, Aliquippa, Pennsylvania, 15001.
Okay, thank you. So we had asked for 2 inspections prior to this meeting, one immediately following the last time you were before us, and one immediately prior to this meeting. We got neither. Can you tell us why?
I did not understand that you wanted immediate interior inspection. I apologize for that. I'm only able to make it to the property on the weekends right now. So I obviously went over a couple weekends and my daughter and I did some siding.
And then the one prior to this meeting?
Excuse me?
And so that we wanted an interior inspection right after the last meeting, just so the inspectors could get in, see what needed to be done on the interior, if there were any orders that needed to be written, if things were out of compliance.
Yeah, I misunderstood that.
You didn't
thought-
understand that. Then we asked.
I'm sorry, I thought everything was on the exterior of the building. I know Jody said she wanted an interior, but I thought that my commitment for this meeting was to make significant progress to the exterior.
It was explained at length at the last meeting that once a property is before the Housing Appeals Board, that it needs to be brought into compliance both inside and out. I remember
And-
that being explained to you, Mr. Nickel, at the April meeting.
But Mr. Nickel, you are correct. The work that we had asked be done before this meeting was all exterior. We just wanted to see the interior of it. Okay, so you didn't understand.
I did not understand that the interior was in question, other than Jody wanted to see it. So
Okay, Jody did want to see it, but that was because we made that part of the motion. Okay, Jody, remind me again, this exterior work, this siding work, does that need a permit?
Yes.
And you don't have the permit? You're continuing with the work without a permit? Is that what I understood?
I filed for a permit and I got a case number and it was being reviewed, and I got an email actually this morning that said fees are now due. So I believe I'm able to obtain the permit now. It has not been issued yet, but I've got a number if that helps.
Okay, so you,
211657. And when I filled out the building permit, I applied for the roof, the Voris Street porch, and the siding and soffit and fascia. So I was in the waiting room. I was trying to log on and see if there was anything else on the thing, but I was unable to get into the Summit County building permit portal to see it. But I will call them in the morning.
and it's your understanding that you can now get that permit, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Assuming that you can get the permit within the next week,
Okay.
how long do you think it's going to take to complete the exterior?
Another couple weeks. I can get about half of that done in a weekend.
That's siding, and was there some roof
Soffit.
repairs, soffit?
The roof's already done.
Okay,
Just to Jody's point, it was not permitted properly, but the roof is complete. The building is secure. It has no new doors and I won't say new windows, but secure windows.
so if the board grants an extension by our next meeting, which is July 20th, I believe, you should have the exterior complete.
I will make sure that.
I'm asking, I'm not trying to commit you to something you can't do, so I'm asking. If you get the permit within the next week, And our next meeting is July 20th, so,
I should be very close, ma'am.
okay.
I mean, weather providing, I mean, I took 3 or 4 days off and it rained 2 of them last time I was there, so it was difficult. It just, weather permitting, we should be able to have it done by July 20th.
Would you like me to read into the record everything that needs to be done to the exterior?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
please.
Finish installing the siding, install gutters and downspouts, repair the front service step handrail, add gravel to the driveway, provide missing window screens and missing storm doors.
The screen doors are necessary.
Any door that opens directly to a habitable room requires a screen door for ventilation purposes.
I was not aware that every house in Akron had a screen door, but I will put 2 screen doors on.
Any house that has been inspected by us and been issued orders has.
Now, the roof you said was complete, right? But has not been inspected because permits were pulled.
Correct. The porch is complete. Permits weren't expected, and I had somebody cut down a tree that was in the front and he broke the handrail. But that's just a board.
So, Jody, the work that was completed without permits still needs to be inspected?
Correct.
Correct. I understand that.
Okay. Questions from the board? And Mr. Nickel, I think you told us that once you get this house fixed up, brought back into compliance, your plan is to sell it. Is that correct?
I have a daughter that is a recent graduate of Akron. She's trying to get a job as a school teacher. If she stays in Akron, she will live there. If she does not, then I will get rid of it.
Okay.
Mr.
We wish her-
Nickel,
Yes, sir.
after you get your permits, especially for work that's already completed, I would advise you to call immediately for inspections because they are not always prompt,
Okay.
just to help you
Um,
along.
Do you do
Mr.
inspections on weekends, Jody, or is it all Monday through Friday? And do I have to be there for the inspection? Can I put a
It's
lock?
Monday through Friday, and in order for me to gain access to the interior, someone would need to be there that can open the door for me.
A lockbox is not sufficient?
No, it's, our office policy is to not enter the structure without someone
Okay.
being present.
Mr. Nickel, is your daughter in town?
She's off and on right now just because there's no school, but she's actually here now, but she plans on going back, so she should be able to help us if necessary.
That was actually the question I had just started to ask, was about how we could work out an inspection with your only being able to get here on weekends.
Jody,
Yes?
would you tell Mr. Nickel about the requirement to have a local representative when you don't live in an adjoining community or state?
Well, sir, my daughter does live I have actually 2 daughters. One of them's moving to the Cleveland area in a month, so she won't count, but I have a daughter that lives at 358 East Thornton and 362 East Thornton. I believe the
Right, so
eldest
when-
daughter is registered as that representative.
Okay. That I was questioning because you kept saying you didn't know if you could have somebody there to let Jody in.
The one, like I said, one was a school teacher and one's a nurse. And
If you're aware of that, that's fine.
Other questions from the board?
I'd like to say yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Nichols, for giving that information, because if either one of them is here, then either one of them could let Ms. Forrester in to do the interior inspection, to do the inspection that she needs. It only takes a minute, so it'd make your life a lot easier.
Well, it may take a little more than a minute. Other thoughts? Mr. Nickel, you're indicating to us that you possibly may have the exterior complete by the time of our next board meeting, or very close, I think.
I will do the best I can. I should
Um,
have it sided all the way up. The only concern I have is I will have to rent some kind of apparatus to finish the front there. To the top of that peak, the equipment I have is where I could get to, but I did look into it. There's some local rental places that have stuff to get me higher. So the equipment I have gets me up to the eaves of the two sides, but not the peak.
Okay.
As you see, that's
And
where I stopped. That was where
that's as high as you can get, yeah.
that's where I could get to with what I had. So
So that's the exterior. Now, we have not been inside yet. Jody will be getting in. You've been inside the property, so you have a better idea than we do at this point until Ms. Forrester gets inside.
Mhm.
Any thoughts about how long it might take to complete anything that would need to be done on the interior? I'm just trying to get an idea of how long this may be before us, before we can finally say, okay, it's in compliance and we can remove it from our agenda.
interior needs enough work that I would say it would be at least the end of summer, or I don't know what you would consider end of summer. I'd say September. I mean,
Okay, so
if Jody wants me to have screen doors, I don't know what they're going to ask for on inside, so I assume there will be a lot.
so probably 3 or months or so more.
Yes. at
Okay.
least.
Just trying to get a guess.
Okay.
Board members, any other questions, or is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead.
Move that we grant an extension for 30 days so that the exterior repairs can be made on the siding, the gutters, the handrails, the window screens, the doors, the storm doors that are required. And of course that the exterior permits for the siding would be complete before the siding is complete. Schedule an interior inspection, and that would require one of the daughters, if not the Mr. Nickel, to allow Ms. Forrester in as soon as possible for an interior inspection. Keep the property structure secure, the premises free of refuse. Communicate with Ms. Forrester with a repair plan about the interior for future repair.
Before we get a second, I just want to make sure I got everything in the motion. Lanita, did you include in your motion, and I just was a little confused, not sure I got it, as we did last time, an interior inspection now and then an interior inspection at the end, or was there only one? I wasn't quite sure.
An interior inspection now so that the owner can create a punch list of repairs, a plan.
And then did you want one at the end or not, since you are asking mostly for exterior work?
Yes, inspection for exterior as well as interior so that the work can be done in a timely fashion in the correct order. The beginning and the end.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Mr. Nickel, before we vote on this, did you understand what was in the motion, what would be expected?
Yes, ma'am. And then the next meeting is July 20th.
I believe that's it. It's the third Tuesday.
So Ms. Forrester will be able to get inside and see the interior before the, as soon as possible for the first interior inspection?
I will make arrangements with Jody offline, or we can do it now if need be, and I'll take the day off.
Lenita,
Yes,
Ex-
ma'am.
in your motion, did you? I don't have it written down, but I might have missed it. Did you also include the permits?
Yes, this extension would require the correct permits for the exterior siding, the roof, the porch, the soffit, all those things that are exterior, and anything that might be interior after the first interior inspection.
Any other discussion? Jody, did you get what was in the motion? Or Dwayne, whoever was getting that?
I think they've been kidnapped.
Yes, I got complete siding, gutters, screens, handrails, storm doors. And there might have been one other thing on the exterior.
Window screens.
The window screens.
I got submit a repair plan for the interior or convey that to Jody. Obtain permits for the exterior. Keep secure, keep premises free of refuse, and schedule an interior. Schedule 2 inspections, an immediate interior inspection and then an inspection before the next meeting.
Okay, I think you got it. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Good luck, Mr. Nichol.
Thank you.
Which case are we hearing next?
You could unshare the screen for a moment so I get full screen again. I need to handle one bit of bookkeeping, I guess. Miss Miller, the neighbor at 1045 Stroman, is in the waiting room. I didn't know if we wanted to bring her in to explain to her that that case has already been concluded. And then also we have someone that I believe may be Mr. Large on his cell phone. So, Madam Chair, would you like me to bring in the neighbor on the Stroman case?
I would. She took the time to join us. I would like to give her a chance to be heard, and we can let her know that that case has already been heard. Mr. York, you will need to swear her in when she gets here.
If you can hear us, Miss Miller, please unmute your phone.
She can't really testify. The hearing's over. So I would just recommend you hear what she has to say and explain to her what happened. And
Okay.
point out that she could come back next month if she would like to be heard again.
Okay, can I let her express her?
Certainly, certainly.
Okay.
But it's just that without the owner being here, we really can't take testimony that would be useful in any way on today's decision because it's
Okay.
already over.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Miller, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us again this month.
Thank
I don't know when Mr. Gregor brought you in, if he mentioned. Ms. Sutton was here. She was the first one at our meeting, so we heard her case first. So I will let you know what our decision was with that case this month, but I would also like to give you the chance to express the thoughts and concerns that you have that brought you here to join us this month. So I will tell you that we didn't get done as much as we had asked. We were a little disappointed in the progress. Some progress, however, had been made. So the board decided to give her until our next month's meeting to see if she can make some more progress and continue to make some significant progress. But it's a 30 days at a time to see how it goes. But we would love for you to tell us again what brought you here tonight and your concerns for that property.
Well, they have cleaned up quite a bit, which I am happy to see because it was in very, very bad shape. And it's concerning living next door with people breaking in. And also the critters that live over there. We were sitting outside one day and raccoons were climbing up our fence that were living over there. But the property has been cleaned up, which I'm glad to see. If they continue to work on it, I'm pretty sure they can get it up to city code.
Thank you. So she will be coming back before the board next month at our next month meeting so that we can see what progress has been made and decide if the board feels that's enough to continue granting her time to make more progress. So if indeed you are available and want to put yourself through this, we would be happy to have you join us again at next month's meeting so you can kind of keep us up to date with how this is being viewed from the neighbors also. But we appreciate your taking the time. I'm sorry that you weren't able to be here when we were hearing the case. She just happened to be the first one in, and so we got off and running at 6 o'clock.
So I do have one question though. Have they obtained permits to complete the work, because they are continuing to do work on the inside of the home as well?
We had a discussion with her about permits. They don't have them yet. They are in the process. I guess they've spoken to the folks at the building department, know what's needed, and getting the permits is in process. They expect to have the permits within the next 2 or 3 days. So they're aware of it, that's being worked on, and they know that all of the work that's been done the permit work is going to have to be inspected by the building department.
No, they're my husband, he asked them one day, did they have permits? And they said, yes, that they did have them. And he said, well, they're supposed to be on the door. So they're working under the auspice of having permits, but because they're in there banging and they're doing work.
Well, if the work, they don't have the permits, and they had admitted that this evening, should be soon. And if they are continuing to work and the work is not up to snuff and doesn't pass the inspections, they will have done it for naught and have to tear it out and do it all over again. So hopefully they will get the permit soon, be able to get the inspections done. And let's cross our fingers. I've not been in the property, so let's cross our fingers and hope that the work is at least going to pass the inspections, or there's a setback because they'll have to take it out and redo it.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Keeping me up to date on what happened today. I appreciate you.
Thank you. And we appreciate your joining us and letting us hear what the neighbors are living with. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Gregor.
Okay, I'm going to bring in who I believe to be Mr. Larch on his cell phone, but we will soon find out. Okay, Mr. Larch, you're not connected to audio. Can you try? I'm gonna put you back in the waiting room, have you bring in whatever option you chose this time, choose the other option. If you chose call over internet, this time choose the other option next
I don't
time.
think he can hear you.
I had a lengthy conversation with him on the phone. Without seeing his phone, it's difficult for me to see if he's able to connect using another option.
He's shaking his head no.
Okay, I'm gonna have to put him back in the waiting room and try to give him a call. And there's no one else.
I thought we had La Follette.
No, Jody and I will attempt to explain the interactions we've had on emails with the owner's representative for La Follette, if and when we get to that case, or if
Okay.
the representative shows back up in the waiting room. There's been several people that have come into the waiting room, waited a little while, and then left. And so I would say
So-
just go ahead and move on to the next case, and I'll try to give Mr. Larch another call to try to get him through this. So.
Okay,
Could
so
I-
Jody, then are we gonna go to Harmon?
Could I say before we start on Harmon,
Yes?
I'd like to recuse myself away from that particular case, so I'll listen to know when you're finished, but that's all. I'll black it out.
Understood. Thank you. Jody, will Harmon be next? Yes, it
If
will.
that's what you want to do next.
Well, I just assumed with no one else in the waiting room, we would take them in order.
Are we good now?
Yep.
Review case 5823, 1292 Harmon Avenue. At the Housing Appeals Board meeting of May 18th, 2021, the board granted an extension until June 15th, 2021 to transfer the property, begin repairs, keep the property secure, keep the property free of debris, and schedule an interior inspection. The exterior only was inspected on June 11th, 2021. It has not transferred title yet. I have not heard from Attorney Holly Lucas regarding the property.
Okay. I mean, we've had this on our agenda since last October. In last November, we granted an extension of 90 days in order to complete the sale of this property, which brought them back before us in February. When that hadn't been done, we granted an extension of 30 days to complete the sale, which brought them back to us in March when it hadn't been done, and we granted an extension of 30 days to complete the sale, which brought them back to us in April when that hadn't been done, and we granted an extension of 30 days to complete the sale, which brought them back to us in May when it hadn't been done, and we granted them an extension of 30 days to complete that transfer. It's now June. This month, we expected to see the new owner come before us with some repairs having been begun and a plan for the continuing of the repairs. So we've heard nothing since the last meeting. Is that correct?
That is correct.
How does the board feel? I mean, it's sad because the property, looks salvageable.
It is salvageable. When I did get the interior inspection, I did note that there were very few repairs that needed to be made to the interior of the property.
It's just that we don't seem to be able to have anyone who's going to step up and take ownership of this property. If it's going to remain in the estate of deceased owners, and not go forward. I don't know how long we're going to be able to keep carrying this with nothing being done.
Yeah. Whether they're gonna do probate or whatever.
Well, it's already gone through probate.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
And as of last month, the potential new owner was the same person that we were talking about last October and November, I believe. I don't understand, and Ms. Lucas, Attorney Lucas is not here with us tonight. I don't understand what's taken so long to close the sale on this, because we were given several dates of when the closing should have occurred over this last, 6 months or so. I'm kind of at a loss. I would, because the property is not in that bad a condition, I hate to order it down, but it's got orders that are not being complied because there's not an owner to do the repairs.
Right.
Mr. Dobberton, if you're talking, you're muted.
Can fines be leveled against this property at the current time?
We can seek other means of enforcement.
But what would that do? How would that make things
Well,
better? It's an estate, finding an estate, what?
Nothing we say seems to be putting a fire under these people. Maybe adding a little monetary incentive would speed things along. I mean, the potential owner can't bother to show up. The attorney can't bother to call or show up. If all of a sudden,
I think the attorney thought she was done. At our last meeting, she kind of said her fond farewells and expected not to be before us again, but expected the transfer to have happened. Since it hasn't happened, I would think that perhaps she should have been here to explain why the sale still has not taken place. I understand what you're saying, Michael. I just don't know that levying fines against this estate is going to gain us anything except fines not being paid.
that's why I put it as a question. The potential buyer was Bernard Lewis.
Yes.
Do we have contact information for that person?
No, I do not.
Okay.
And there's no reason that we would.
I do know that he lives in the neighborhood. The neighbor to the right explained to me that the person who's buying the property lives in the neighborhood. He is the one that tarped the garage roof and boarded the garage and cleaned up the yard before he even had, ownership of the property. As stated before, when we knew this was going to take a while for this to happen, the Housing Division will again give the option of removing it from the agenda with follow-up by the Housing Division. If if it ends up that it doesn't transfer title and we can't move anywhere with it, we can bring it back before the board.
How does that option sound to the board? It's not gaining us anything, I think, to continue having it come before us when there's nothing being done and we don't have an owner to even talk to about it.
Yeah. So, Madam Chair, would you like a motion to remove?
If that is your desire.
Nothing else I motioned seemed to be working. Okay. Review case 5823, the property at 1292 Harmon Avenue. I move we remove this property from our agenda, return it to the inspectors for follow-up. Period.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Is there an abstention?
There was one abstention.
Abstain, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was trying to get my mic open.
Okay. Thank you. One abstention. Thank you. Hopefully, this can be handled by staff and will get brought back into compliance and will be a lovely house in the neighborhood and won't come before us again.
Do we want to go
Mr.
ahead and move on to the next case, or we?
Well,
Mr. Gregor, any luck?
I've had another conversation with Mr. Larch. He's here. He's again having trouble connecting to audio. I have what I think might be a less than ideal solution. I think it might be possible to get Mr. Larch on my speakerphone. And if he's audible to the board and we're audible to him, may be able to see him on the video and hear him on the phone.
Mr. York, let's
For me?
ask your opinion of this. Should we give this a shot, although it's less than ideal? Or,
Well,
or hold off?
let's see how it works. Let's see if we can hear him and if he can hear us.
But I thought we were done with the case.
No, we've not heard it yet. We just keep trying to
Oh,
get him.
that's right. That's right. I'm sorry.
This is Kramer. This is Kramer.
Okay, change it. Sorry. The wind changed.
Okay, there's a note in chat, Dwayne. Did you see that?
I saw that. Mr. Larch, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Can you hear the board members from?
I heard someone else, yeah.
Pam, are you
Okay.
able to hear Mr. Larch?
Not well, but we can try.
Okay.
Jody, can you read the case?
New case 5882, 1841 Kramer Avenue. There has been no compliance with housing orders issued against this property, which is vacant, dilapidated, tax delinquent, and not registered. The deteriorated condition of this property is a blighting influence on the neighborhood, and the Housing Division recommends that it be demolished with all costs assessed. The exterior only of the property was inspected on June 11th, 2021. Repairs include peeling paint, repair T111 siding, damaged shutters, broken and boarded windows, all downspouts missing, loose gutters, clean debris from gutters, front entrance door delaminating, missing front storm door, rotted threshold front entrance, replace rear storm door. The driveway right now is grass. Tuck point foundation on the house and at the front stoop. There is tree debris in the rear yard, and the yard has eroded behind the neighbor's retaining wall.
Thank you. Mr. Larch, were you able to hear Ms. Forrester?
Yes, ma'am, I heard all of that.
Okie dokie. Would you give us your name and address for the record?
My name is Jason Larch. Address is 3744 Arthur Road, Kent, Ohio.
Thank you. So what's the story with this?
Madam Chair,
property?
before you get started, I think I need to swear him in.
Oh, okay, that's right. We couldn't get audio for that.
Sure. Mr. Larch, do you have video capability?
Do I have video capability?
Yes. We were able to see you earlier.
Okay.
Are you able to activate your camera?
My camera.
It would be a start video, Mr. Larch.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
There we are.
Okay, so Mr. Larch, we can see you now. And you can hear us? Can you say something? Mr. Larch, say something.
Gosh.
So Dwayne, I did take it if he has video, he can't have audio?
I'm sorry. You couldn't hear him because I muted myself.
Oh, all right, don't mute.
Go ahead,
yourself.
Mr.
Can you hear
Larch.
me now?
Yes,
Yeah.
okay. So the reason I want to make sure we can see you, Mr. Larch, is because we have this technology going on where your audio is going through Mr. Gregor's cell phone and coming to this video. So I think it would be helpful if we could see you as well. You understand?
Okay, yes, sir.
Okay, so now I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Larch. Okay, so what's the story with this property at 1841 Kramer?
Well, I've just sort of forgotten about it, ma'am. That's honestly, it has not been a priority of mine. I've tried to keep it up outside with as much as I can by mowing the grass, so to speak, but I have not done anything to it, ma'am. And that is, I guess I just have to do what I got to do at this point. But I have no excuse.
Yeah, there have been orders on it for a little over a year.
I received something about tuck pointing, which I completely disregarded. I'm being completely honest, and that's, I did not do anything about it.
Okay, you should have received orders about more than tuck pointing.
Okay.
You should have received orders for just about everything that Ms. Forrester said earlier.
Okay.
All of the things that she said needed to be done. And you should have gotten those early 2000, probably February of 2020 rather.
Certified mail was claimed on February 10th, 2020 for the orders that I issued.
Okay.
In addition to that, there were additional letters that were sent to Mr. Larch with no response.
Right.
Okay, so why did you buy this property if you didn't intend to do anything with it?
I said bought it for my daughter, ma'am, and things changed, and it did not become a priority.
Okay, is it enough of a priority now for you to bring it back into
Well,
compliance?
listen, if someone said they're going to demolish your house, you think you'd try to make it a priority, ma'am? I'm being
Well,
completely honest with you people. I disregard it. You know, I know the neighbors. I try not to tick off the neighbors. So the three across the street and the three next to me, they call me to let me know what's going on. I try to make them happy. That's what I've been trying to do. So that's where I am at, ma'am.
Okay, so if the board grants you an extension of time to fix the property up, what would be your plan for the house once you got it brought back into compliance?
Probably sell it. I don't
sell
want
it,
to lose
okay.
anything, but yes, I guess I would sell the home.
Okay. Jody, we
I'm
have,
not a landlord. I'm not a landlord. I just things change. That's all.
okay. Jody, we have not been inside, is that correct?
That's correct.
And Mr. Larch, once a property comes before this board, it has to be brought completely into compliance with city code. So that's everything exterior and interior. So we would need to get inside and see if there's any repairs that need to be done to the inside to bring it into compliance.
Okay. Well, actually, when I bought the place, I had the guy update. I did get a permit for the wiring and the plumbing, which that was 4 years ago. So it is whatever it is. It is what it is. I'm not against that. Whatever, you know.
So hopefully the inside's not too bad. We'll just need to get the inspectors in there to see it and make sure, see if there's anything that does need to be done.
Okay.
If the board grants an extension, do you have any idea how long it might be before you could finish the place and get the repairs made?
I don't know. How much time could I have, ma'am? I could make the outside, that if that would make you somebody happy at first off, correct?
That would keep neighbors happy usually. How long do you think it would take to do the outside?
I don't, 6 months.
Jody, read the exterior again, please.
Peeling paint, repair T111 siding, damaged shutters, broken and boarded windows, all downspouts missing, loose gutters, clean the gutters, front entrance door delaminating, missing front storm door, rotted threshold front entrance, replace rear storm door. The driveway is non-existent, it's completely grass. Tuck point the foundation on the house and the front stoop, remove the tree debris from the rear, and the yard is eroded behind the neighbor's retaining wall.
And
What do you
how
mean
much?
the yard is eroded? I'm lost there. That you gotta help me out there.
Because of the gutters and downspouts not being properly installed on your house, the water has ran off and has went behind that retaining wall and pretty much washed out part of your yard.
Okay, right next to the houses, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, along that retaining wall, more towards the rear of it, towards the rear of the house.
Okay, and how do I repair that? That I'm not aware of, ma'am.
Well, once you fix the gutters and downspouts so they're draining appropriately away from the house, then you would bring fill dirt in and fill in those areas.
Okay, okay, I see.
And Jody, how much of the work needs permits?
None of it.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's good.
I
Mr.
have a
Larch,
question.
go ahead.
Mr. Larch, are you aware of all the back taxes on this property? There are 2 federal tax liens against this property. There are 9 state of Ohio tax liens against this property. And there are 2 tax certificates from Summit County against this property.
Yes.
We don't, I don't have the amounts on all of those, but that could be a considerable amount of money. Sometimes we caution. Go ahead.
I'm sorry?
Sometimes we caution people against throwing good money after bad if they can't complete a project, and that would include all these back taxes.
Right. Well, the taxes from the state and the IRS were what is the word? A settlement. So those are just wait to be taken off there. Offer and compromise. I'm sorry, that's the term. It was an offer and compromise.
So you're aware of all of them and you've been working towards a resolution?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, the 2 tax certificates, one of the tax certificates are $3,084. The other one is $1,577. And as of March 14th, the property was $2,561.50 tax delinquent. That would not be part of that agreement on those liens.
That's over 7,000 total.
So,
Thought it was more.
Mr. Larch, you've got a 7,000-ish tax issue to deal with. then do you have the funds to be able to complete all the repairs on this house?
Ma'am, I didn't complete the funds on half the house because I wasn't sure if I was gonna be the owner of this house. Do you understand? Now that
I
I have
do.
my things handled, yes.
Go ahead.
That's why I understand about him throwing good money after bad. I didn't throw money good after bad for the past 3 years because I wasn't sure where it was going. And if I didn't care, I wouldn't be here right now. And that's why I've got it, you know. If I thought I was gonna lose, I'd just walk away from it.
Okay, so now that you've decided that you would like to bring it back into compliance, fix it up and sell it, do you have the money to be able to fix it up?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm a little concerned with the 6-month time frame you gave us for the exterior. It just seems a bit long to me for the work that needs to be done.
Well,
Any other
it's gonna
thoughts
take more
from-
time than money, ma'am. That's something that I just don't have right now. You guys asked me to be honest, I'm being honest.
Well, and we do want you to be honest. We appreciate that. But, and the board members will be honest with you also. And if they think it's going to stay in a state of disrepair for too long, they might decide to do something about that. Thoughts
A
from the board?
reasonable, if not extremely generous amount of time for those repairs to be completed to the exterior would be 60 days.
That was the number I was thinking, Jody.
I can't do it in 6 days.
I'm sorry, did you say you could or could not, Mr. Larch?
I could not, ma'am. I'm sorry. I cannot promise you I can do it in 60 days. So
Okay, and we'd rather hear you tell us that than tell us you can and then not do it.
right.
I do have a question for Mr. Larch. When was the last time that you were out at this property? And really looked at the outside and the inside of it?
The 9th of June. When I talked to my neighbor Pat when she called me.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Larch, what reasonably do you think you could do between now and this board's next meeting, which is July 20th? What could you do in a month?
I don't know, man, because I want to put windows in them, but I called yesterday. There's a 12-week lead time for windows inside the house. I have to put windows in before I do side the home. Whatever, I guess I could do the, I don't know, fix the spouting, fix the tuck pointing, the front door, the edge, whatever that doesn't pertain to, I could repair, I don't know, I have to, but I'm going to side the home. Before I side the home, I would like to install windows indoors. I don't know.
If siding is installed, that will require a permit.
Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm trying to see from this picture, Ms. Forrester or the owner, is that just wood exterior? Is that, or is that old siding?
T111 siding. It's wood, T111 siding.
Yes.
Paneling.
Oh,
I
Madam
thought it
Chair,
was just wood. I didn't know. It's not deteriorated though, is it?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
Jody, was it the siding or was it the door that you said was delamming?
The door is delaminating, but I also stated that siding needed to be repaired.
Yeah.
so there's no way to patch it and paint it?
It could be. You can still
Yes.
purchase
yes,
T111
it could
siding.
be, yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Yes, it could be.
It could be patched and painted?
Yes, ma'am. If that would save me some time, I could do that.
I was just wondering what the options might be.
How long has this house been sitting vacant for? Empty.
I'm sorry?
How long has this house been sitting empty for or vacant?
4.5 years.
Was it empty when you bought it?
I'm sorry?
It was empty when you bought it and there's been nobody living in it since you bought it.
Well, I had a guy there the first year I got it, yes.
Okay.
I'm
Madam
sorry to
Chair?
be redundant, but patching and painting would not require a permit, would it, Ms. Forrester?
No.
And that would be a cheaper way?
That actually sounds better.
I'm just asking a question for a friend.
Sure.
Well, and I think Ms. Cooper's question is probably to your benefit. If indeed you could do that and bring the property into compliance along with the other things that need to be done, that would at least buy you some time, and you could always at a later date cite it if you wanted to do that before you sold it.
I see that. I'm glad for bringing that to my attention. I agree.
Now, we're just here trying to assist you, not to attack you. So please understand that we like to see good things happen rather than bad things. So
Yeah.
we're here to assist.
I see. I'm listening with an open mind here.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
if I might suggest, if
Could you give us your name, please?
I'm sorry, it's Dwayne Greger, Housing Administrator.
Yep.
If I might suggest, if Mr. Large's intention was to cite it after he installed windows, if a recommendation were made to grant an extension, perhaps Mr. Large could come back with proof that the windows have actually been ordered. That would show an intent to complete. If that was the case, then perhaps an extension to the July meeting would allow him time to complete the spouting, the entrance door, tuck point the foundation, remove the tree debris, register the property, and then at minimum provide some type of evidence that the windows have been ordered. I would think that, and then schedule an interior inspection, of course. I believe that accomplishing all of those things by the July meeting would at least show a willingness on the owner's part to bring this property into compliance.
Okay.
Mr. Large, did you get all of those things that Mr. Greger just mentioned? Mr. Greger,
By
could you go over
July?
that list again for Mr. Large?
Well, what I recommended was one of the things that Mr. Larch indicated he could complete, which were the spouting, the entrance door, the foundation tuck pointing, remove the tree debris, provide proof that the windows have been ordered, get the property properly registered with the housing division if it isn't already, and schedule an inspection.
Did you hear that, Mr. Larch?
Yes, that's fair. I can do that.
That would be before our July meeting, so that's a little over between 4 and 5 weeks from now.
Okay.
Could patching,
Reasonable?
could patching and painting be added?
Not if he intends to cite it.
Oh, well, Mr. Larch, that's between you and Ms. Forrester to decide. I'm just asking.
Well,
Punch list, that's all I'm saying.
Punch list.
if we perhaps get the things that Mr. Greger just listed done in this first 30 days, perhaps the painting could be done in the next 30 days, assuming we grant time.
That's correct.
Only
That's
gonna
good.
paint if I'm not gonna side it, okay?
Come
So
again?
I'm only gonna paint if I'm not gonna side it, so I don't know who's throwing paint inside it because it's like wasting time and money if I'm gonna paint and repair repair what's there rather than decide it. Yeah, okay?
Correct. So if, and I'm not speaking for the board, they haven't made a motion or made any decision yet, but if, for example, they would grant an extension of 30 days to allow you to do the things that Mr. Greger just listed, which doesn't include either paint or siding, but does include some of the other things, that would give you that 30 days in order to give you time to think about whether you wanted to do painting or siding.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions from the board? If not, is there a motion?
I have an emotion detector.
Do what?
I can try. Madam Chair, new case 5882. The property at 1841 Kramer Avenue. I move we grant an extension until our July meeting to allow the owner to repair all spouting, to tuck point the foundation, to repair or replace the entrance door, to remove trees and debris from the property, to provide proof of windows being ordered, and to register the property with the city to keep the property secure, free of debris, and schedule an interior inspection.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Mr. Larch, before we vote on this, do you understand the motion? The things that we were asking?
Yes, ma'am.
And you think that's doable?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if not, make sure you call Jody and let her know.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed?
Opposed.
Any abstentions? Motion carries with one opposing vote. Mr. Larch, good luck. The board's going to want to see this work done.
And please schedule your interior inspection.
ASAP.
We ready to move on to the next case?
Yes, ma'am.
Are there, if I could just interject for a minute, are there witnesses? Are there any other people left in the audience? In the waiting room?
Mr. Greger, you're muted if you're answering us.
I was in taking my breath in preparation for an answer.
Oh, okay.
So the short answer is no. The longer answer is that the person that came in and was sworn in for the appeal on La Follette, when she was put in the waiting room, made an assumption that she had been booted from the meeting and has now been sending a number of emails to Jody and I, all of which I've responded to her to let her know that the meeting is still ongoing and she could re-enter and her case will be heard. And I've explained this several times. And her most recent email to me indicated that we were being unprofessional by booting her out of the meeting and that she's going to contact the Attorney General's office to have this matter investigated.
Oh, good Lord.
So, I have about 4 or 5 emails that I've sent to her in reference to the case on La Follette, the most recent of which said, you have the opportunity to re-enter the meeting now. This meeting will continue for another hour. I've told her this. I've told the owner that. The owner sent, I believe the owner sent an email also.
So is the one that's sending all the emails, is it a neighbor or what? It's not the owner sending those.
The
Well, this
owner
is-
did, as well as the owner's representative who was here and was sworn in.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
What I'd like to do, if we could take these out of order, there's 2 appeals pending and neither appellant is here to present their appeal. I'd like to go on the record on both of them and get those resolved because you've got city employees. The 2 inspectors on those cases are actually present. And as soon as those cases are done, they should be released. They should go home. So what if we could jump to the appeals, make a record on each of those and get those done.
Makes
Okay,
sense.
And one of those appeals is the property at La Follette that Mr. Greger and Ms. Forrester were just discussing.
Yes,
Correct.
yes,
But
Madam Chair.
basically-
Oh, I'm sorry, John, go ahead.
Well, all I was going to say is basically I want to get those cases read in and then Mr. Greger would need to explain once again what he just stated. So we can make a record that the court reporter would type up at a later time if we need it.
Okay, and Madam Chair, Jody will read in the cases. And I guess as a preface to that, the Housing Division's position on these would be that the appellants were duly notified.
Well, before we get into that, Dwayne, let's get them read in so we can make our cases at that point.
Thank you, John. Go ahead, Jody.
Appeal case 0524, 630 Lafayette Street. The property was inspected on June 27th, 2018 in response to a complaint. Violations of the City of Akron Environmental Health Housing Code, Chapter 150 were noted and orders dated July 2nd, 2018 were issued. An administrative penalty of $100 was issued for non-compliance on April 28th, 2021. An appeal of the administrative penalty order was received on May 6th, 2021.
Okay, so as I understand this, this is not an appeal of orders. This is an appeal of the administrative penalty.
Correct.
That's correct. So the owner did not take issue with any orders that were issued against the property. In essence, they agreed that those were things that need to be complied with because they didn't disagree with any of them.
Correct.
And the orders were issued in 2018. We got no compliance until 2021 when we issued fine, and now they're appealing that. Okay. Thoughts from the board?
Well, before we get to any substance, I think I'd like to just cover a little bit of the procedure of
Could
what
you
went
tell
on
us who you
today.
are, please?
This is
for the
John
record?
York, City Law Department. So I guess I have questions for Mr. Greger and Ms. Forrester. Mr. Greger, did the owner of this property, Ella Thornton, appear at this evening's hearing or meeting?
In person, no.
Okay. Did she have contact with you in any way about this meeting or during the meeting?
Yes, she did.
Did she email you?
Yes.
Okay. Did she seem to understand that the meeting was going on right now?
Yes, if you'd like, I could read the email into the record.
Yeah, just let me clarify. When I say right now, I guess I mean the meeting started at 6 o'clock and it's now 7:47. So why don't you go ahead and read the email and state when it was sent to you?
The email that I received at 6:40, or excuse me, that I received at 6:47 p.m. was actually a series of emails, the culmination of a series of emails that it's been sent to Jody. At 6:26 p.m., the owner sent an email to us that said, "Good evening, my representative Devon Jones logged into the Zoom meeting link before the housing hearing. She said she was sworn in, and after she said, 'Yes, I do,' she said something went wrong with the audio and someone else said they need to be in rest mode. Nevertheless, she booted out of the meeting and was unable to get back in, waited for host to let her back in. With this being said, when will I be rescheduled another meeting?" And the response that she got was she was placed in the waiting room until the case is heard. Her response was, "Hi, so they don't state that she will be in a waiting room until the case is heard because she thought she was booted out because no instruction was given to her. Can you reschedule this meeting because now she will be having to start getting ready to go to work? Also, can you give an estimated of how long the wait will be after being sworn in until the case comes up?" And the reply was, "It was stated after she and everyone else were sworn in." Her response was, "Jody, she was booted out or placed in the hold without instructions was given. She wasn't told that she will be put in a holding room. I would like to just request a new meeting time and login information. Please advise when this can be rescheduled." And my response was, "We will not recommend a continuance be granted. Instructions were given via email and in the Zoom chat room." That was the interaction with the owner. There were several more interactions with the owner's representative, and the owner's representative was also notified while she was still in the waiting room that cases are heard in the order people log in, and I did give an indication of what order the case on at 630 La Follette was to be heard.
And when you talk about the owner's representative, that was Devon?
Yes, Devon sent several emails, of which I responded several times, letting her know your case will be heard and you will be admitted back into the meeting room when your case comes up in the order I posted in the chat room. She responded at 7:30. It is now 7:31. Tried to log on again and it won't even allow me to enter the Zoom meeting to let me know that I'm not yet allowed into the meeting. And I did take a screenshot and my response was, "We are still here." Her response at 7:36 was, "There were only 3 people in the meeting. I was the last person for the meeting. I was sworn in and after that I was booted out. I contacted the owner of the property. I am her representative. She sent an email to Jody. Jody stated that I was in the waiting room. No information was okay, that I will be in the waiting room. From previous experiences, these meetings are open. No waiting room existed. As I explained to Jody, this is very unprofessional. I was told I was supposed to be in the waiting room until my case was heard. It is now 7:30 and I'm still not allowed into the meeting. I don't understand is and professionalism. And at this point, I have no other recourse but to contact the Attorney General's office for an investigation because I don't understand how the city of Akron cannot provide a professional service where everyone is understanding the process." And my response at 7:38 was, "You have the opportunity to re-enter the meeting now. This meeting will continue for another hour."
So Dwayne, she indicated in that email that you just read that she did understand that she was being put back in the waiting room and would be called back into the meeting when her case was being heard.
Yes, and she did re-enter the waiting room for a portion of the first case.
She's just upset that it's not in her time frame. She doesn't want to sit and wait. Right?
So she was in the holding room. She was on hold and didn't want to wait on hold. Is the point.
That's
Mr.
what I-
York, you were going somewhere with this.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, do we know Devon's last name? I didn't catch
Jones.
it. Pardon?
Jones.
Jones? Okay, so Miss Jones was actually sworn in, correct? She's the one that was corresponding with you, Mr. Gregor?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Madam Chair, I believe the commission, this body, the Housing Appeals Board, and Mr. Gregor, who's providing the IT service, I believe every effort has been made to give the owner the opportunity, or the owner's representative the opportunity, to appear this evening and present the appeal. And they have not appeared, because you're ready to proceed on their appeal right now. And it's 7:54. This meeting started at 6 o'clock. Could have been here at any time up until now. And the housing code provides that if an appellant fails to appear and present their appeal, it's grounds for dismissal. So I would recommend that the body consider a motion for dismissal of the appeal for the owner's lack of appearing to present their case.
Mr. York, just a question of terminology. Normally, when we vote on appeals, we either grant the appeal in whole or in part, or we deny it. You're using the word dismiss. Is there a difference or wording that you would prefer we use rather than deny?
I use dismiss because the housing code says dismiss, but I believe you get to the same place by using your normal terminology. You would say because the owner didn't appear, their appeal is denied and the appeal is dismissed.
Thank you. Any other questions or thoughts from the board? Jody, just so that we understand, because this is not an appeal of orders, it's an appeal of an administrative penalty. Can you explain the reason that an administrative penalty is put on a property?
Administrative penalties are issued for non-compliance with the orders that were issued on the property.
Thank you. And there had been orders on this property since 2018.
Correct.
That had not been complied.
Correct.
Thank you.
Jody,
Thoughts?
has anything, I'm sorry, Pam.
No, go
Jody,
ahead.
has anything been done to this house in this time?
There has been progress, but the progress stalled.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
I believe in the appeal, basically, the owner just wanted more time in order to complete the repairs. Was that part of the appeal that was filed?
I believe that's correct. This is John York.
Yeah. Okay, board members, what's your pleasure?
I'd like to make a motion,
Okay,
and I'm open for discussion if anyone disagrees. That I move that to deny.
okay,
Because-
I need the motion, the case number, the
I'm sorry.
address.
Appeal case 0524. Address 630, how do you say that? La Follette Street. This property, I move to deny the appeal based upon the fact that the owner did not appear or would not remain in the holding room to appear to, based upon the orders written and served properly. They were valid, and the owner and the representative did not remain in the meeting.
Okay, although they were not appealing the orders, they were only appealing the penalty.
Okay, well, I move to deny.
Is there a second?
Second.
Yeah.
Okay, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Okay, next case is appeal case 0523 838 May Street. This property was inspected on April 26, 2021 in response to a complaint. Violations of the City of Akron Environmental Health Housing Code, Chapter 150 were noted, and orders dated April 26, 2021 were issued. An appeal of the orders was received on May 7th, 2021. The fee for the appeal was received on May 12th, 2021.
Okay. I have two kind of sets of documents that I believe came from the appellant. One came, I believe, with the appeal, and one came at a later date.
Yes,
From
so-
reading,
I apologize.
no, go
I just
ahead.
want to say for the record that it was sent to all board members and to John York with the City of Akron's Law Department to review prior to this hearing.
Thank you. Board members, you did all get this stuff, I assume. In reading through this, and the owner is not appearing before us this evening to clarify or explain or answer questions. I didn't really see in any of this documentation, which is several pages long, the reason for the appeal of the orders. I didn't see which orders they took issue with. Was that in there and I just lost it in verbiage?
This is John York, Akron Law Department. It's difficult to, I guess, discern what order in particular, or if all the orders are being appealed or challenged. That's part of the reason the appellant's required to attend the meeting, so that you could ask questions or the appellant can explain their position. I don't want to speak for the appellant. So
I'm not sure
I
you
really
could.
can't guess. I can't guess what the angle is there. I would
Yeah.
just say that I can't disagree with your maybe confusion in that respect, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Jody, did you have any conversation with the owner outside of just these faxed or emailed documents?
No, I did not. And the owner did not contact me to request the information to attend this hearing this evening, as instructed.
Thank you. So they sent information but didn't make any attempt to appear before us.
Correct.
Is the sanitarian who did the inspections in attendance?
Yes, that would be John Gould.
Could we talk to John?
Unmute.
Yes, you aren't going to be able to see me, but you can still hear me.
Okay. John, you were sworn earlier,
Yes.
and could you tell us who you are?
Yes, I am sanitarian supervisor with the City of Akron Housing Division.
Thank you. And you did the inspection on this house at 838 May.
Yes.
Okay, so can you kind of briefly tell us the condition of the property? The orders that were put on it that this appellant might be having some issues with?
Probably I condemned the house because the rodent and roach situation was so severe. And the exclamation point that came on that was when I saw a live mouse go running across the dining room.
Lovely. Okay.
And the roaches were really bad too. Every time you moved anything in the kitchen, you saw them.
How about the physical property?
The physical property had several violations, but the big issue was the sanitation with this house that led to the condemnation.
Okay.
I wouldn't have condemned it just over physical stuff. It was the fact that there were all those rodents.
Okay. And again, and board members help me because I did get lost wading through some of the documents that were sent. I don't remember seeing a vermin problem addressed in any of the written information we got from the owner. Did I miss it? Did anybody else see that mentioned? I'm going to take that as a nobody else saw it either.
There's so much to go through.
My recollection, Madam Chair, was that the owner didn't dispute the conditions, but I believe blamed it on the tenant.
Yeah.
Could I ask Mr. Gould a question?
Sure.
Yes.
So Mr. Gould, there's 15 orders issued to the owner, Don Heller. We don't need to go through every one, but did you observe a sufficient basis for each of those orders when you inspected the property?
Yes.
On April 26, 2021?
Yes, they were all observed by me.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I would, and board members disagree if you choose, because I know you will. But I would suggest that since the sanitarian who did the inspections has been here to substantiate each of the orders that was written, that there's no clear identification of any orders that the owner might disagree with. An appeal of these orders is really not to be upheld based on any fact that we have heard or read. So my thought would be that probably we're going to deny the appeal.
Madam Chair, could I just point out that possibly another reason for the same conclusion is that the appellant did not appear to state her case. And the code recognizes that if an appellant fails to appear and state the basis of their appeal, the appeal can be denied and dismissed. But again, I think that's just an additional reason. It doesn't change anything that you previously said.
Right. She not only didn't appear, she not only didn't make it plain in the written material, she didn't appear to be able to clarify it for us. Thoughts from board members or a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Dobberton, go ahead. You're muted, Michael.
How about now? There we go.
You're good.
There you go.
Appeal case 0523, the property at 838 May Street. In that, orders for this property were properly served. There were no clear objections to any orders, and the owner did not appear to explain the appeal. I move we deny the appeal.
Mr. York, before I ask for a second, is the preferred wording deny and dismiss?
That would be fine. Yep.
I move we deny and dismiss the appeal.
All right.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Gould.
You're welcome. Okay.
All right, has anyone showed up in the waiting room?
There's no one waiting in the waiting.
Okay. Then the next case is new case 5883929 Donald Avenue. There has been no compliance with housing orders issued against this property, which is vacant, dilapidated, the scene of police activity. It is tax delinquent and not registered. The deteriorated condition of this property is a blighting influence on the neighborhood, and the Housing Division recommends that it be demolished with all costs assessed.
New case 5883929 Donald Street. There has been no compliance with the housing orders issued against this property, which is vacant, dilapidated, police activity. It is tax delinquent. It is tax delinquent $7,544.91. It is not registered. The deteriorated condition of this property is a blighting influence on the neighborhood. I move that this property be raised with all costs suitably assessed.
Second.
Jody, have we had any contact with Mr. Poe? I know our sanitarians have tried to reach him, but have we actually ever spoken to this man?
Mr. Poe did contact me on June 8th, and an inspection was scheduled for June 14th at 9 a.m. The owner did not appear for that scheduled meeting at the property. The owner also requested the information to attend this hearing this evening, and he failed to show.
Thank you. Okay. Did I get a motion on this one?
Yeah, Emily seconded it.
Okay, that I thought so, and then I thought I missed something there. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
New case 5884, 941 Kohler Avenue. There has been no compliance with housing orders issued against this property, which is vacant, heavily vandalized, dilapidated, the scene of police activity. One of the owners is deceased. It has been secured by the city and not registered. The deteriorated condition of this property is a blighting influence on the neighborhood, and the Housing Division recommends that it be demolished with all cost assessed.
New case 5884, 941 Kohler Avenue, where there has been no compliance with housing orders against this property, which is vacant, heavily vandalized, dilapidated, police activity, owner deceased, secured by the city, not registered. The deterioration condition of this property is a blighting influence on the neighborhood, and a move we raise with all costs assessed.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Okay, let me get to the picture on this one. New case 5885, 9 Lake Street. There has been no compliance with housing orders issued against this property, which is vacant, heavily vandalized, dilapidated, tax delinquent, has been secured by the city and is not registered. The deteriorated condition of this property is a blighting influence on the neighborhood, and the Housing Division recommends that it be demolished with all cost assessed.
New case 5885, 9 Lake Street. Whereas there has been no compliance with housing orders issued against this property, which is vacant, heavily vandalized, dilapidated, tax delinquent, has been secured by the city, is not registered, and the deteriorated condition of this property is a blighting influence on the neighborhood. I move this property be raised with all costs assessed.
Second.
Jody, it sounds as though the owner of this property might be an entity that owns several properties. Are we familiar with them?
I'm not personally familiar with the owners of this property.
Okay, that's probably a good thing. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
And the last case is waiver case 5886, 1959 Harlem Road. There has been no compliance with housing orders issued against this property, which is vacant, dilapidated. All lien holders of record have been notified, and the owner has submitted a voluntary demolition waiver stating that the property is in such a state of disrepair as to create a serious hazard to the health and safety of the community. The deteriorated condition of this property is a blighting influence on the neighborhood, and the Housing Division recommends that it be demolished with all costs assessed.
Second.
No, I need a motion.
I'm just kidding. Oh.
Waiver case 5886, 1959 Harlem Road, where there has been no compliance with housing orders against this property, which is vacant, dilapidated. All lien holders of record have been notified. Owner has submitted a voluntary demolition waiver stating that the property is in such a state of disrepair as to create a serious hazard to the health and safety of the community. The deterioration condition of this property is a blighting influence on the neighborhood, and a move we raise with all costs assessed.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. That is our last case. Any brilliant thoughts for the good of the order? If
Go
not,
ahead. Mike's got something to say.
Everybody have a good week and everything went well. I'm sad that someone really felt that our board was denying them the right to speak, but I hope that they do understand that we have never done anything like that and would never do anything like that. So
I think Mr. Greger explained several times to them that they were certainly welcome to come back into the meeting at any time, and we would be happy to hear them.
Yeah.
I think there may be a possibility of coming back to live meetings in the future. I'm not sure it'll be July. I don't know if you have any information on that, Dwayne.
Yes, an email was sent to all city employees today announcing that the city council will be resuming some live meetings, the live council meeting this month. Committees will still be meeting on Zoom until, I believe, July 12th, which is the next Monday after the 4th of July holiday. The word that I've gotten so far is that the resumption of in-person meetings for boards and committees would probably follow on the heels of city council resuming. So I would hazard a guess that we will get additional information about that between now and the time that council resumes, and we will likely be returning either for our July meeting or possibly our August meeting.
Well, that is very good news. So it's possible that our next meeting will be an in-person meeting.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That being said, anything else we need to discuss? If not, our next meeting is July 20th, 2021, and we are out.
happy Juneteenth on Saturday, everyone.